So after your opponent's move pawn to e4, just simply play pawn to e5. Remember, pawns should always go first. Knight to f3 by white, attacking the pawn on e5. Just go knight to c6, defending your pawn on e5. And according to the opening principles, remember, knights are supposed to be developed first before the bishops. And after, let's say, white plays bishop to c4, here you have two options. To avoid the fried liver after knight to f6, I recommend that you play bishop e7, even though you can still play the Gyoko piano with the move bishop to c5. In my opinion, for intermediate players and beginners, bishop e7 is more solid and you won't have to face many traps with this move. This is the most solid move I can recommend for you guys. Pawn to d4 may be played by white. Although in this position, the most common move is castle shot, where I recommend that you go knight to f6, and if d3, just castle shot. And you can see in this position, it's very difficult for white to do any tricks or to set up any traps. Because your opening is simple and solid, white cannot easily break through the center. You always have pawn to d6 next. You will develop your bishops out, or sometimes even to the e6 square, in an effort to exchange with this bishop on c5. Pawn to h6 will always be on the plate, followed by king to h7, with ideas of expanding on the king side after locking the center. That is optional, of course. Anyways, pawn to d4 is the secondary option that you're going to see most of your opponents playing. In this position, just play pawn to d6. Now, believe you me, most of your opponents won't even take your pawn on e5. Trust me, they will go d5, after which you should play knight back to b8. Followed by bishop g4 to pin the knight on f3, then a knight to f6, and finally knight bd7. You will also castle short afterwards. But what happens if white takes on e5? Well, this is not much of a stretch. We'll just take back the pawn, and if queen takes on d8 with check, bishop takes on d8 is the way to go. Knight g5, attacking the f7 square. Well, in this position, knight to h6 makes sense, and it is also played at master's level. Now this knight here looks useless, so it has to go back. White is also intending to take on h6 so that he can double up your pawns. Here I recommend that you just go knight g4 with an intention of putting your knight on f6 normally. So h3 will be played by white, knight to f6, attacking the pawn on e4. Again, we are back to our formation. Knight c3 defending the pawn on e4, castle shot, and you can see by the arrows our plan is very simple. Since there are no queens, we are going to play h6, we are going to play s6, we are going to play bishop to e6 after playing rook e8. We also have intentions of going bishop to e7. And before I continue, you guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I feel so encouraged to bring you more wonderful content. Therefore, I'm giving you 4 seconds to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Okay, so now let's have a game. So I just want to show you guys how this opening works in practical terms. So we have e4, e5, knight to c6, bishop c4, bishop e7. So we are guarding the g5 square, just like I said earlier on. So d4, d6. Now in this opening, guys, you shouldn't mind to exchange queens very early in the opening, because, you know, as black, we have very few options anyways. So we do not mind trading our queen or trading queens. s6 is coming. So s6, taking away the b5 square. So here, what do I want to do? Can I play queen e8? Queen e8, yes. Queen e8. Planning to go knight h7. Knight h7. Knight h7. Knight g5 is the idea. Oh, so whenever you see this battery, white is planning to sack on h6. I'm going to allow him anyways. So let me go king h8. What is he going to do? Is he going to sack on h6? And that's what he did. This guy is a 23 rated chess player. Let's see how he's going to convert this. Let him prove his sack. So I'm going to take on e5 with my knight. I also have plans to go knight g5. So first let's take on e5, right? He has knight to d5. Knight takes on e5 anyways. Take. Bishop g5 attacking the queen. Okay, I think this was just too much. I think white has lost the game. So you can already see we used this opening. So let's prevent white from going to the d5 square with pawn to c6. Yes, pawn to c6. Let's take away that square. Next is bishop e6 in an effort to exchange the light squared bishops. Okay, so when you're up material or when you have an advantage, start trading pieces, because the more pieces you trade, the more chances you have of winning the game. So if pawn takes, I'll take his free queen. So a 2300 rated chess player just hanged his queen in 20 moves. So you can see how effective this opening can be even against higher rated chess players.